Hey friends, it's me, the Ebony Otaku, who's really loving this dual camera setup, the well-rounded nerd. Today is all about Warhammer, specifically Aeronautica, Imperialis, and NashCon. She's repping her Lead Pursuit shirt. Thank you so much, Doug, for the pink shirt. Appreciate the pink shirts. Because NashCon is coming up, and what did I say I was going to do for NashCon? If y'all get me to 7,500 subscribers, let me give you. Let's do exact dates. Exact dates. Haha. NashCon is not in that month, not in that month either. NashCon is the weekend of August the 14th. So we'll be at NashCon the 14th, 15th, and 16th. Well, 13th through the 16th. Y'all get me to 7,500 subscribers by August the 15th. I'm going to give away what I print out for NashCon. Our friends at Lead Pursuit, mostly Doug, have been kind enough to let me and Mr. Otaku host a beginner's game. My husband's doing an orc theme mission. I'm doing a rescue theme mission. I'm going to be a Astartes versus Xenos, and he's orking it up over there. That's what he does. He loves the orcs. But I am custom printing some Imperial flyers for that purpose. Ooh, my husband's calling. Let me tell him I'm recording a video. Recording. I love that you can like text right out of a call. Recording a vid. Boom. So we're both going to get to do a little bit of beginner Aeronautica stuff. Doing our best. And when I say I'm going to give the whole thing away, I'm also the person that I got these from, because one of the things you really need in Aeronautica is a way to put down your movement. So you have movement choices 1 through 9, depending on what kind of planes that you, excuse me, hiccup, plane that you have. So you pick your movement, but you don't tell anybody. You lay it face down next to your plane, and when it's your turn to go, you flip over and make that maneuver. I really like these, and I'm getting a set of 10 made for these to go into my little prize pack. Now, what's in here is not being given away. This is mine. But I'm going to give you those dials, and I'm going to make some wound tokens for you as well. Um, and I'm printing planes. Why am I printing? Why aren't these going to be purchased? I'm wearing shorts. We're going to turn this. It looks like I'm not wearing shorts, and I am. The reason I'm having to print instead of any kind of purchase is Aeronautica is not being produced anymore. There are a lot of people who play, but Games Workshop is not producing Aeronautica anymore. So it's one of the few ones that I've had. I've gotten lucky in getting some boxes of Eldar, and I don't think I've ever found a box of Necrons, but I've been very lucky on the Eldar front. We have been able to find orc stuff, but you know, some things are very hard. So the best kit I can put together, I'm going to give that away to a viewer on my channel. I tried to do a giveaway once before, and you know, y'all got me the views and all that kind of stuff, and the person who won didn't reach out to claim it. I still have all that. I'm going to give it away for Christmas. If y'all get me to 10,000 by Christmas, I'm not just giving it away as like it's an OPR set, but I'm going to paint it. And all of this I'm giving away for NashCon will be painted as well. But I want to give you an idea of what you're looking at. So for me, the reason that I take to Aeronautica very well is I like the aerial combat games the best. These are some wound tokens that were given to me that you kind of just like hook onto your plane, but it looks like smoke coming out of it. You'll probably get something like that. But Aeronautica is played on a hex grid, and the person who runs Lead Pursuit that's local to us, I have asked him for a map for the experience that I'm producing. I'm going to give the map away too as part of this. When I say I'm giving away a good prize, I'm giving away a good prize. Just give me the subscribers. That's all I'm asking. No entry necessary. We don't do that. Y'all give me views, and you know when views are high enough, you get a check. It's the least I can do. Peep my ring anyway. So I got into Aeronautica because they at High Ground Hobbies they hosted. I'm looking for the first plane I want to show you. They hosted a night where they did a paint party, and paint parties happen very regularly at High Ground. But what they do is they'll print some models, and then you come and paint them with their paints. Of course, you got to buy the model. And one night they were doing Aeronautica. It was sponsored by some guys who were into Aeronautica, and I picked the Necron ship because it looked the coolest to me. No other reason other than it looked cool. That's it. Turned out to be the most overpowered ship in Aeronautica. Didn't know that when I started playing. I just thought it looked cool. But I really liked the game. And then a lot of those guys, not a lot of them, all of them, we ended up being friends with. So there's a lot of people that we go to gaming conferences with and stuff like that. But I've really enjoyed the aerial tabletop community. And it's a Warhammer game. It is in universe. It is Warhammer 40K, and it's in the Imperialis scale. So this is epic scale models. These the itty bitty ones, itsy bitsy. I got an Imperialis box. I have Titanicus Imperialis too. Ugh, I have so much, so much. Um, but I love it. It brings me joy. But this is again, never look at what people do on the internet and be like, why can't I do that? Um, everything. Oh, one of the files I was printing, it said it was unable to parse the job. I'll figure that out after I film this video. It's part of your scenery, whoever wins, that I'm printing right now. But it's, the dogfight games, I don't know what it's about. Dogfight doesn't mean actual woo dogs, not those dogs. Dogfight is planes in the air. Maybe it's because that was the first great tabletop experience I had, but I tend to favor the aerial games. And I tend to actually learn those rules really well. And I tend to win at those more often than not because I'm actually thinking about strategy. Like, I know people have come to when they've like seen me at stuff, they're like, oh, I'm going to play you in 30K. I'm like, do you? I'm not that good. I play Emperor's Children in 30K. It's not designed to win. We are like the weakest army in 30K. We're just out having a good time. But now that I know I can play named characters, Fulgrim's coming with me to Adepticon next year. I'm bringing my Primarch next year. Yes, I am. But oh yeah, I have him. Ben had him. Ben had. Ben had. The only Primarch I can't find is Vulcan. Where can I get a Vulcan? Anyway, I digress. But I love these. But let me show you a little bit of what you're in for, and then we're gonna have some more fun. So where's that first one I did? It is covered up under something. That's what happens. There he is. So this is the one that I did that night. Um, that I painted. This is actually the underside. There's a magnet here, and they go on these little poles, so you can stick them on their bases. Let me grab the pole for this one. So had to take their little stand, glue a magnet to it, and I kind of love it because you can like make it like aim where it's going. Now, look, if you don't make the sound effects, what are you even doing with your life? But these are the stands, bases, and stand. And there you go. You got a plane, and the playing board is actually hexagonal, so you move it based on you got a grid of moves you can make, and then you make the moves and you shoot each other down. It's great. It's all a roll of the dice. This is your speed, the 3 arrows, and this is your altitude, how high or low you are. Um, and there's lots of other rules like every game, but this is one of the simpler games to pick up, and I really enjoyed it. I also like Blood Red Skies quite a bit. It was pretty easy to pick up. Blood Red Skies, it's these. I don't do good at painting historicals. Um, these are zeros because Godzilla -1. Only plane I'll play in in Blood Red Skies, which I do pretty good at Blood Red Skies. I love Aerodome and Aerodrome. Those are two different games. If it's a shoot 'em in the sky game, I'm gonna play it. I'm gonna play it. I like it. But yeah, so this is the first one I did, and this is a 3D print. I've looked high and low for a box of these, can't find them, but I appreciate that. But my husband at the time, I wasn't printing yet. This was several years ago. I wasn't printing on my own yet. He had always had a DLP printer, the Mars 4, and he printed me some more because I liked them so much. Again, this is still before I knew they were overpowered. I was just like, ooh, I want to keep playing Necrons. And everybody was like, why Necrons? I didn't know it was because Necrons were overpowered, that they were all side-eyeing me. I had no idea. But too late. This is a plane that bit it. It's in cockroach position. I don't know what happened to it, but it's going in here. I can print another one. But they're all different paint. So if you look here, you see a little pattern on the wings. You know what that is? You know how I did that? I have an old earring with a crazy pattern on it, and I laid it on top and then airbrushed that on there, and it turned out looking like that. Uh, One that's purple and pink, and then a darker purple with the yellow on each side. And plus, Necron lore is not my core lore, so I didn't know what color Necron's supposed to be, so I painted every plane different. but that's kind of standard for me. But I have 6 Necron flyers, and I'm happy with that. The next set of planes I was able to get were Eldar. These were actually gifted to me by a friend. Not those, these. 2. Where's the other one in this set? 3. I am very proud of the paint job on these. These are not being given away. These are mine. Um, but they just turned out so sensational. I paid just as much detail to the back. But these are Eldar. And if you come to NashCon and you play my demo game, you will be playing against my Xenos. You're going to be playing against the Eldar. I'm not going to have you play against the Necrons because not fair. Bleh. Come on, girl, learn how to talk. These Eldar were gifted to me by a friend. Very unique. These are Nightwings, and I love them. I did just solid sheen on them. This is when I first started experimenting with Turbo Dork, and I just wanted to see what the colors would do. And I was happy with just the color, so I left it. I just left the color plain. Didn't go any deeper on it. So this is where my metallic obsession began. With those 3 planes specifically. And then I got a friend of ours had to go overseas for work, and he messaged and was like, "Hey, I'm at this store, and they have a box of Eldar. You want them?" I do, because look what these do. Freaking. Uh-oh. Oh no, has it dried? Ugh. They're gonna have to get some work out. It opens up. Meow. Look, if you don't make the sounds, why are you even playing? I'll deal with that later. I did some in that scheme. These are easier in this scheme. And this is when I was newer at painting. So they're okay. They're not great, but that's the game. And I've got 2 sets of bases here. So obviously these go with my Necrons, the really shiny, pretty ones. These I painted to go with the Necrons. Can you tell which paints those came from? And then I still do pretty shiny for everything else. So all my other planes get those. So if it's a bubblegum colored plane, it gets one of these. So you're going to get bases in that set too. But now I'm going to bring out what you're going to get, or at least part of it, because I'm starting the cleanup and prep process in earnest. So let me get these back arranged the way that I want them. I was trying to paint a Zero and a Sailor Moon theme, but I'm going to have to do it again because it turns out I was not talented enough to achieve my vision. I'm an okay painter. I still have a lot to learn, and I'm learning it. But painting it's work. Everybody has a hobby, and if you don't, you need to find one. There's so many out there. But yeah, that I don't know why I thought I could Sailor Moon up a itty bitty plane. I didn't know how to do that. This is what I play on our Aeronautica game that we do with our friends. We do an RPG combination with Aeronautica. Our GM Doug hosts that. Lead Pursuit. On Mondays when we play, I do post the stream. We're going to try to figure out how to dual stream and send y'all to his channel to get them subbed up. But go sub up Lead Pursuit. But this is Pinka-lesque. He wouldn't let me be Minka-lesque because she's a named character. It's fine. But this is Pinka. Husband printed her for me before I was doing resin prints, and this is Pinka's plane. Because obviously, we just did a bunch of updates. There's a new game system we're trying with this, so we both shoot and role play. So when you tune in, it's not just the tabletop gaming; it's the role play as well. So just that you're aware of that. So these are going back in the box. Keep forgetting I've got 2 cameras. All right, so now on to stuff that's going to be for other people, or person. It's going to be for other person. I have been 3D printing in earnest. Ooh, the black shows up weird on the camera. Because that is the color resin filament that was dried out. Not resin filament. 2 different printers. And I was kicking off another print, and it decided it did not want to kick, so I will have to resplice it and do it again after I finish filming this. Ooh, this one didn't print so good. See how its nose is turned up? Not that one. Trash. And here we go. So these are part of the planes you're going to get if you were to win. These are carriers. This is a big old carrier with guns on it. And these are fighters. So I've got to get these cleaned up. Now, when it comes to 3D prints, there's a lot of, debate out there on the cleaning process. Like this piece here, oh, you can see it good right there. This piece here is part of the scenery set that you're going to get. The scenery that I print, I'm giving it away too. I mean, unless my contest winner doesn't contact me, it's fine. But I printed this on a Bamboo A1 Mini with an O4 nozzle. A lot of times when you print, the larger the nozzle, the more lines you're going to get, because the way that the filament printers work, the PLA printers, they print in layers. And that's where these lines come from. You can barely see them on this one. And like, you can hear it when I scratch my finger on it, but you almost can't see it. So sometimes if you have like big bulky lines, people will go in and file it down, which is what I have a Dremel for. I would never do it by hand, absolutely not. She can't be bothered. But this came out when I pulled it off the printer. This is just the first piece. There's going to be there's 3 sets of scenery that I'm printing. Actually, let me tell you who they're from, because it's and I'm giving them away. I cannot sell them. Let me be very clear about that in case somebody asks. I can't, unless I was to sculpt something or buy the resale license, there is no being able to sell at all. Let me go to my Bamboo app and go to me, go to collections. Yep. So these are called the Industrial Imperium set. There's 3 sets, A, B, C, and D. Oh, there's 4 sets. But I'm printing those for you. And I'm going to give them away as part of this big old set. If nobody claims it, then me and my husband just have more scenery. But it's going to be a fully painted set. I'm going to set you up as completely as I can. There may be 1 or 2 bits and bobs you won't have, but overall it's going to be a nice giveaway. But with this, they're modular, so you just stick them together. So these are going to have a very uniform look to them as far as the scenery. That way, as you mix and match, it all looks good. These are going to be, this is all stonework, so it's going to be pretty easy to paint. Looking forward to it. The planes, though, this is where, you can really start seeing the lines. You see that? Like, you can, there you go. Try to get it in the light. There's a line. So I'm debating on filing, but these lines are so close to the detail. I'm going to prime them and see how they look after I prime them, because guess what faction they're going to be. It's Macragge Blue. They're going to be Ultramarines. So why not? But right now I have 5 fighters for you and 4 transport. So let's start the cleaning process. This is always fun. So whenever you use this kind of printer, you're going to get all of this stuff. These are supports because there's negative space under your model that you're printing. So the resin printers build from the top down basically, but like the plate drops into the resin and comes back up, but it ends up being a smooth finish because resin is dripping down and then it solidifies as one. This is building from the bottom up in layers. So if you ever seen the old opening to Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, and it's got like the little dot nibs it's printing, it's like woo, and then the next one goes, it's just that over and over and over. So oh, dog's eating a tree. I was like, what is he chewing on? It is one of his treats, thank God. I thought you could found something else. But it's building up the layers, and that's why you see these lines. You see that? Those lines are each layer that it built up. The bigger the nozzle and the fewer the layers, the wider those lines are going to be. Since I printed it on a printer that has a very fine nozzle, I think the only smaller one is the O2. Since it has a fine nozzle, and a pretty good print speed, these came out looking really good. So after I'll prime them, I'll decide if they need filing on the next ones. But you got to take the supports out, because as they're building up, that negative space has to be filled. And that's what these supports do, because it can't print things that are floating. Negative space is not as big a deal on the resin printers, again, because of the way it prints. There are 2 very different ways to do printing. We do both. Some people prefer one over the other. I will say I was pretty intimidated by resin printing when I saw my husband doing it, because it looked complicated. And then once I started doing it, I was like, oh, not so bad. Now I'm over here, shopping for a wash station and all that kind of stuff. So it's crazy. I know I like, when it comes to the hobbying, I try to be transparent on my channel. My husband and I know I got a young face. She's 43. I'm not a child. I'm not I'm not young. I'm not old either. I'm good. I'm not technically middle aged yet for another couple of years, but we're getting there. um, I'm 20 years into my career, and I like to make it very clear with people that it's a journey. A lot of what you see back here in my collection, that is stuff I've collected over years. Years and years and years. Like since I was a child. I had a job, when I was 15, 16, 17, like most teenagers, and I lived with my parents, and guess what my money went to? My car insurance, my gas, and action figures. That's where it went. Um, and even when I was younger, I didn't so much open a lot of stuff. Like all those Sailor Moon figures I had back there, I never opened them. When I got them as a teenager, I didn't open them. I've just always been that way. I don't know why I've been that way, but I am. I'm glad I am because some of those are up there. But honestly, I wasn't even thinking about that when I was a kid. I was just thinking I don't want them messed up. Because I had Barbies when I was little, and their hair would go so frayed so fast, and that would really make me mad. So I was like, not for the Sailor Moon dolls. Sailor Moon dolls stay perfect. But you got to take all the supports off. And this part can be a pain because you don't have to do this part with resin. But with resin, you have to cure it and wash it. Cure it under a UV light, and make sure it's good and cured. And if it's something that has a hollow inside, you got to stick a little light in there to cure the inside. Outside curing may not get it if it's a pretty thick piece. And then you got to wash it. Wash it in what? In I'm sorry, you got to wash it first, then cure it. You wash it in isopropyl alcohol, 91% isopropyl alcohol. We keeping Johnson and Johnson in business in this family. So each one of them have, their pluses and minuses. The cool thing about it is 3D printing has enabled us to really enhance our gaming abilities. Like, is 3D prints are probably not things that I personally would buy at an event unless something really unique was there. Um, like there was a really big orc plane that someone had custom designed and printed. I got that from my husband at NashCon last year. The guy gave me a really good price on it for what he had done. It was huge, and he loves it. That's something to me worth buying. But I don't generally buy 3D prints like hand built stuff that's like made of wood and stuff. We can talk, but that not as much, which is another reason I would never sell any of this because I don't think it's sellable. Giveaway, yeah. And we do prints for our friends and stuff. Some of us have 3D printers, some don't. But we're all a good gaming community. I've got one friend who's helping me learn how to paint better because he's a really good painter. And it's good to have good painters around because then you've got someone that you can say, hey, how can I do better at this? And they actually can give you a real opinion. If I could have found you original G-Dubs models for this, I would have, but not easy. G-Dubs, if y'all brought this game back, I would totally buy it. I like it. I love an aerial combat game. This is my favorite game of y'all's. And as much as I'm a 30K girly, this is by far my favorite game. Like 100%. I love it. If you've never been to NashCon, it's in Nashville, my hometown, Nashville, Tennessee. Um, it is more historicals driven. I do believe there's a big Age of Sigmar tournament. At least there was last year. I'm going to assume there will be this year. They have cool prizes at that one too. They like gave out swords and stuff. I was like, a sword? I'm gonna enter a game I don't know how to play just to try to get a sword. I don't play Sigmar. She's a Lord of the Rings fan, but it was pretty cool. And then they have a really good section over in the vendor section. There's a lot of people more than like just the brand new stuff. Like people who have collections they're thinning out. So there's like a yard sale vendor section. That is where the gold was found, in my opinion. Like there was some really good stuff over there. And I found some cool things last year. All right. That is now the bottom is way more claggy looking than the top, but you only play for see, look how smooth the top is. Look at that. Ugh. But I don't know if I'm going to smooth the bottom because you're never going to look at the bottom. I am going to have to put a magnet here so it can be on its stand, and I'll probably have to put a larger magnet on that stand to make sure it can stand up for you, but it looks pretty good. I'm excited to see how these look once I get to the point of trying to make sure there's nothing else that needs to come off of here. Oh, there's a little bit of support here that I think needs to come off. Yeah. Um, Once I get them primed. My husband's home. Yep, just a little piece there. Hey, babe. I'm almost done. Here's a cleaned plane. What do you think? What do you think? Yeah, it looks pretty good, doesn't it?
Yeah, that looks really good. I mean, you always get this stuff on the bottom.
On the bottom, yeah, but
But you're not going to see that when you're playing with it.
exactly. I think, like, I'm kind of impressed with how good the A1 Mini did.
There's some supports here.
Thank you. I was spinning it around to see if I missed anything. Yep, that is definitely a support.
And I'll need those hemostats when you get a chance to pull some supports off one of my
The hemostats are still on the painting table.
Oh, okay.
They're in my holder. I think your print just finished, or is close to finished. And that is the kind of house we live in. So one, he looks good. Yep. So we're gonna set this one over here. This is a big old cruiser with guns. So sometimes, depending on the scenario that's set up, sometimes you have a people carrier that has no defenses. Sometimes it does. This one has defenses. This one doesn't, but it's much smaller. So depends on mood. Sometimes, like, what you see how I'm just pulling these off. Sometimes you can just pull off these supports, and you can tell your printing application what kind of supports you want. I tend to go with tree supports because I can do this. I can pull them off typically by hand, except for these itty bitty ones. I usually have to go in with some pliers or something. These are a pair of snips that we sacrificed for cleaning up prints. My good snips. Don't use your good snips for cleaning up prints, for God's sake. I did that once. I had some purple snips. You know the ones. I have another new pair. My husband got me another pair, but I didn't know, and I ruined them so hard. But he was gracious and wonderful enough to realize I didn't know what I'd done. I got it. He gifted me another pair. He's so great. Um, I never saw myself becoming someone who would get freaked out over ruining their snips. When did that happen? Let me tell you. It's a good time, though. I lead a pretty low key but fun life, as it should be. But yeah, back to my original thought. When you see people doing this kind of stuff online, you wonder how can they do that? Because YouTube does not pay my bills. I have a job, um, you know, and I'm in a career field that's gonna serve me until I decide to retire, um, and I'm filming stuff that I do anyway. But me and my husband, we're not at the beginning of our careers. We are um, both in the middle aged range. We've been at our jobs for a really long time, and we are blessed, which is why I have no problem giving away something. We are blessed to be a blessing. That's how that works. But come on, trying to make sure I don't break plain pieces and I'm just breaking off supports. There we go. Come on, got it. That I might need to smooth. That's ugly. That is ugly. Come on, off, out. Got it. That little part I'm going to smooth out because that is just terrible. But I don't think I know a lot of times people don't want to talk about that kind of stuff, which I'm not going to give y'all numbers and exact. But there is something to be said for getting so far in your career, and where you are in life that lets you enables you to do your hobbies. Now, I don't get to paint and play in Warhammer and Legos every day. I don't. I wish I did, but she has a job. And I'm in a master's degree program. I think I've mentioned that more than once, more than twice. One piece, boom. Um, and because of that, you know, I would love to spend every day just painting things and printing things, but bills must be paid, and the job enables me to do my hobbies. So we do it. Yeah, this looks pretty good. I'm kind of happy with it. I think there's a couple of support pieces down here that need to come off. Nope, nope, those are supposed to be there. I have to look at it from the top to know if it's support or something else. Yeah, looks pretty good. Gunship with transport. But don't look at how other people are living out their hobbies and stuff they like to do and go, "Oh man, I don't have or I can't do." Everyone's at a different place in their journey. Everyone's life is going to take a different path, and we have to make do with the path that we have because trust me, I mean, y'all are here for the good part, but everyone has a story. Everyone has a story, and you can't um, decide what you think someone's life is or isn't like or has or has not been like based on a few minutes of seeing them on the internet. Am I going to tell you my whole story? No. The past is the past and it can stay there. I'll tell you all the happy stuff. I'm not going to tell you all the weird stuff. I think the weirdest thing I've talked about is what happened with my Taekwondo school. But beyond that, no, it's not. Everybody has their own stuff to going through. I'm not coming to the internet for therapy. That's what therapy's for. you know, but don't try your best not to feel bad. I can't say don't because sometimes it is a little disheartening to go, oh, everybody could do all these things that I want to do and I don't get to participate. Yeah, that does suck. It does. And I remember those days. I remember having to work on every holiday. Those were good times. But conversely, my bills were paid because I worked on holidays. I remember never getting my birthday off. I remember getting laid off before. Nobody goes through all good all the time. Came out pretty nice. We all have our ups and downs, our trials, you know, things that make us stronger, things that make us mad. It's just how it is. But our hobbies give us something that we can escape to. And if you find people you can talk to about your hobbies, even better, because then you have common ground and people to have a little escapism with. And I feel very lucky that we have made so many good friends here who do this kind of hobbying. Now, granted, I haven't met a lot of women who do this kind of hobbying, but a lot of the wives and girlfriends paint, which is kind of cool. One of them, the Munford's Makings, who's the one who made those little dials for me in my big pink carry case, his wife paints. She is the reason I got turned on to those iridescent inks from Daler Roney. I can never say that name correctly or easily. I might smooth up this bottom just a little bit. Try to make sure I get, there's a little bit of support here, and I want to clip support, not, there we go, not fuselage. There we go. Looking good. Make sure one of these I printed. The reason I printed so many of these, one of them, the front didn't quite adhere to the plate, so it kind of like did this little upturn thing. So that one went to file 13. Every print's not going to be perfect. I only have a few planes left. But yeah, I like my channel to be an encouraging, nerdy space. And if you need more nerdy encouragement, come join the Discord. It's still the Ebony Otaku. I post my Discord once in a while. We do a good job of having a pretty positive community, and I appreciate that. Our community is positive because of you. We don't have people, being foolish and, making it where we can't have nice things. And I appreciate that. I really do. I had a few wayward comments on my channel? Yeah, but when I say a few, it's been a few. um, nothing that a quick delete and move on can't solve. And that's because y'all are great. And I 100% appreciate that. Cannot thank you enough for making this community as positive and safe for everyone as it is. Because hobbying should be a place where we all come to woo-saw from life, right? I considered changing the name of my channel to Real Time Hobbies because that's a lot of what I do. Because, notice when I do stuff like this, I don't really do cuts or anything because I believe in you seeing, in real time what it takes. This is how it works. Granted, if I did everything in real time, the whole process, we'd be here for days. Next. See, this one's so thin that I can't do it just with my hands. Um, when the PLA hardens, it's hard plastic, so Some PLA is biodegradable, some is not. You got to check that. They are coming out now, and I kind of want to get one. These machines that will recycle your PLA into new spools. I mean, that's what they do in factories that might make glassware, plasticware, and stuff. That which doesn't go into the main batch or gets cut off, they just put it back in the next batch. Because it's all the same composition and stuff. This was not chemically changed; it was just heated and melted and then solidified. So I can see how that would work. Um, when Black Friday rolls around this year, I might pick up one of those machines if they're not still outrageously expensive. That's one of the reasons I hadn't gotten one of those. But with this, because PLA, you're going to paint it anyway. It's not like it's going to stay PLA. It doesn't unless you're using an AMS to print multiple colors. Um, an AMS is an attachment that does multiple spools, and some printers now have the AMS built in, so you can print in pink, blue, black, green, yellow, all at the same time. But it changes filaments for each color layer. Um, if it really can take these scraps, that I mean, it's a bit of a money saver. I mean, how much? Nah, I probably make a spool's worth of refuse every week when I print. I don't print all the time. That would be interesting. So we might look into one of those. I've been skeptical of them, of whether or not they really work. If you had experience with those, drop it down in the comments. I would love to know if you've had experience. Doggo's back there munching again. That one's pretty clean. I think I only have one more of those and then two carriers to clean up. I wonder if y'all can hear him munching through my mic. He is crunching down, living his best little dog life. If y'all have, I've only shown my dog a few times because I mean she's been recovering from knee surgery for the past 3-4 weeks, but he is such a good boy. He is a golden doodle, and we were very fortunate to come by. Words are not wording. We were very fortunate to have him come along in our lives. A friend of ours knew the person who was fostering him. He's a foster, and apparently the original family, and no shade to them, it happens. They got a golden doodle puppy. His original family, which I mean, he's cute as can be. So who wouldn't want him? And he's actually a really good dog. He's pretty well behaved. He pretty much only barks at doors, which I'm okay with. Honestly, it's kind of what you want in a dog. But he's very loving. He's a Velcro dog for sure, and he's definitely my dog. And he is a very good boy. But anyway, his original owners got him as a puppy, and they had him for about a year. And their lives ended up being too busy to give a dog what they needed, and they gave him up for fostering. And his foster did have a family for him for a little bit, but it didn't work out with them. So she held on to him after that for almost 2 years until she found the right family for him. My hands are cramping. Gotta give him a break. Um, and once he talked to them about us after my puppers, Sammy, we had to let him go earlier this year. He said that we would be the perfect house. So we went to meet him, and it was love at first sight. And he instantly became my dog. He is my dog. He loves everyone, but he's my dog. But he just fit into our household and our lifestyle so well. He's very loving. He's very protective. He responds to training really well too, which has made me really happy because I think dog training is important. I figured he would though, because he's got a combination of DNA that would make him prone to being very receptive to training. He picks it up pretty quickly once he knows what you want. Yeah, he's good. Um, but apparently, from what I understand, I don't know if it's true, but this is just what I was told, is that he's actually a CKC registered, not AKC because AKC doesn't recognize the doodles. But he's actually a CKC registered golden doodle. But he's been fixed because he's not because when people are breeding dogs for I guess to sell or for competition, they don't want a bunch of competition out there. But that's also responsible breeding. You don't want to send unless you're putting that dog in a home that's another responsible breeder. It needs to be fixed. So he came already fixed to us, but he's perfectly healthy. He does a good job going on walks with me. We'll get back to walks once my knee is better. But he goes out in the backyard, lives his best life, chases the poor groundhogs. They will never know another day's peace. There's a big pile of wood at the end of our backyard, and there's a groundhog family that lives there. And since we bought Charlie home, Charles has not given them a moment of peace. So yeah, I never set out to get a golden doodle, but I never thought about getting a doodle, like at all, any kind of doodle. But he has turned out to be just such a good dog, and he's good for me. Not gonna lie, he is good for me. He is my constant companion, and he's the goodest of boys. He doesn't tear the house up. I mean, now if you leave some food out that he can't resist, you leave a pile of hamburger on the counter, he's coming for it. And I can't even fault him for that because dog. It's looking pretty good. Last one, I'm gonna go outside and prime these before I cook dinner for my family. But one more. And well, no, I gotta set another print up to go. Then I will go make dinner for my family. I picked a lot of vegetables today. I've talked about a lot of topics doing this. This is what you do. I kind of like this because it kind of keeps me going and motivated, but not bored while I'm doing a hobby. The next time I do this, I'll be painting. I gotta do a little bit of rearranging, but I'm gonna try this dual camera thing painting. See how that works out. I've tried it with Transformer video as well, so I know she's moving up. I told y'all I was gonna be trying some new things. Told y'all. Um, but I went out in the garden today, and I have one of those aprons that you've seen all advertised all over Facebook, where it has a clip up pocket in it, so I can walk around with the apron and gather vegetables. So cane in one hand, I've graduated to a cane, which I need to spray it pink. I think we'll do that tonight. Um, Graduated to using a cane instead of the walker, so I've got like 2 or 3 weeks left on the cane. Um, but I was just out there gathering vegetables, and you just put them all in there. So I got a lot of tomatoes, got a lot of beans, and I have indeterminate growth for the most part in my garden, so they will produce until the frost comes later this fall, which is kind of nice because I get fresh veg all summer and fresh fruit all summer. Um, but I'm making the guys teriyaki stir fry tonight. I haven't been able to cook dinner for my family in a while, so I'm kind of excited about it. But they're going to get teriyaki stir fry, and I'm going to make myself a simple, quick sauce pasta with my homemade tomatoes. Um, and that should be super yummy. Come on, last one. Ugh, got it. Are there any supports left anywhere? I think those will be better to smooth out. Look at all that. Now, if I have one of those recycle machines, that would be fantastic. You know what we're going to do? I have a box down here that my candy machine came in. Why do I have a desktop candy machine? Because I do. There we go. Got all that. And now, Dremel bits. Come on. Whoops. That is not what I meant to do. There we go. All right, so this goes here. This goes here. There we go. And now I can screw it down in there. Yes, my Dremel's pink. What do you expect? Hey, if nothing else, I'm a person of consistency. Takes a while to get it back on there. Gotta make sure it's nice and tight. I don't want that flying off. And do a little smoothing on the bottom. And it's still screwing. There we go. Come on. I have to get it all the way to the bottom, otherwise thing's not gonna stay on. Almost there. There we go. Now we're tightening. At least it's secure. Almost. So close, and yet so far. All right. I love this little thing. So you go to start high, higher, higher, and off. I'm going to start low. All right. Move this out the way. Yeah, that needed that. That looks better. There's a couple of rough spots that I'm not happy with. It's a little loose. Uh-oh. Get back on the thing. I might have to use a different chuck head for this. Let me use this one instead. Because that's actually not even as rough as I need it to be. It's okay, but it's not doing as good a job as I'd like it to. Come on. Let me use this sanding head instead. Righty tighty, lefty loosey. Come on. There we go. Let go. Got it. And this one goes in. Ah. Come on. There we go. Haha. That's better. All right. That's better. It's like getting your nails done. It's not. ASMR. Yeah, that's better. Those wiry feet were bothering me. Well, I think the other plate was doing a much better job of smoothing. It didn't want to stay on the thing, but I think that one's old, and that's why. So you want to get into 3D printing, huh? It's a little bit of work. It's a little bit of work. There we go. There we go. It's even. So, smooth down those feet. These aren't as bad. That one's okay. These are pitiful. Can I pull that off, or is that going to have to be smooth? That is the question. Concentration. Come on. Concentrating. Concentrating. This little thing's powerful. Ah! Keeps taking me over the side. Meow. There we go. That's looking good. That looks so much better. I mean, even if it's free, it doesn't have to be awful, right? There we go. Clip off these extra little bits that I pushed out. I could never be a nail technician because that's too much detail work for me. Not bad. I might get my husband to help me smooth out the bottoms of these because it looks so great on the top. It's almost annoying what the bottom looks like. These actually came out pretty good on the bottom. So we'll see what they're like after I prime them. Then I'll make some decisions. What are you going to do about this mess on your desk? I'm so glad you asked. Ooh, that's hot. Which is why I pulled it out with my bare hands. Come on. Ah, got it. So Dremel pieces back in their little carry case. I love this thing because it's USB-C, so, well, everything's USB-C now, but, oh, the manual. Manual has to stay in there. Don't lose your manual to tools like this. But I have the greatest of desk accessories now. The greatest of all. Look at this. Desk vacuum. It's also a blower. Oops. Got this at the Costco some months ago. Isn't that great? You need one of these. Not sponsored, just awesome. It's back in the hardware section. It was at the front when I bought it. And it's all gone. That's just a mark on my desk. Plug it back in for the evening, and we're good to go. So that was fun. I hope you enjoyed that video. Let me know what you think about this style of recording. I enjoyed it. It was a lot of fun for me. I'm glad that, I figured out this 2-camera setup thing. I'm going to try it with painting next. But if this works out, we got a new way to do these hobby videos. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.